Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. My name is Ken Levinson. I'm the Executive Director of WITA, and we are delighted to have so many of you here today. We are especially honored to be hosting the Secretary General of the OECD, Angel Gurria, and our friends from USCIB, the OECD, and the International Labor Organization. Before we begin the formal program, just a brief commercial about WITA. As you know, WITA occupies a unique space in the global trade discussion as the largest impartial, nonpartisan, trade-centric forum, we think, in the world for the discussion of trade policy. We recently concluded a 9-part TPP series looking at critical aspects of the pact, ranging from agriculture and manufacturing to labor, intellectual property, trade, digital trade, services. We welcome you to view the speakers and the panels on our YouTube page, where this event will also be posted as soon as we can upload the video. Also, on July 14th, we'll be honoring the U.S. Secretary of Commerce, Penny Pritzker, at our annual dinner, along with Congressman Dave Reichert and Earl Blumenauer. We're also pleased to be joined at our annual dinner this year by longtime WITA friend Kevin Brady, the chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee. In the coming weeks, we'll be announcing our fall program, including information on our intensive trade seminar series and WITA's next trade policy initiative. As always, we'd like to thank our partners with the Ronald Reagan Building and International Trade Center. Our partnership with the ITC is critical to WITA's success, and we're very grateful for their support. Today, we're honored to be hosting the Secretary General of the OECD, Angel Gurria. I won't get into a lengthy biography of Mr. Gurria, who's, you all have that in your packets. He's been Secretary General of the OECD since June 2006. He was recently elected to his 3rd term. He's been there for 10 years. He came to the OECD following a distinguished career in public service, including as Mexico's Minister of Foreign Affairs and Minister of Finance and Public Credit. In that role, he saw firsthand the global impact of trade on the people of Mexico. After Mr. Gurria's remarks, he'll be joined on stage for an armchair discussion with Sean Donnan from the Financial Times. With that, Mr. Secretary General.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Ken, and thank you all for joining us this morning. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your welcome. Thank you to the Washington International Trade Association for hosting today's event. Now, the OECD is a long-standing advocate of open markets. I'm delighted to be among so many what we call friends of trade, to share the OECD's latest data, analysis, reflections on developments in the global trade landscape. Now, I don't have to preach to the converted, I suppose, but we always have to be reminding all the audiences that the benefits of trade are very clear, but there's some few new facts, and they have to be always, again, underlined. First, international trade has been overwhelmingly positive for productivity, investment, and growth. Ben Franklin once said, "No nation was ever ruined by trade." Second, trade has helped pull millions of people in both developing and emerging economies out of poverty. Third, growing wealth from trade in developing countries has created new markets and new opportunities for U.S. firms. 15 million U.S. jobs depend directly on exports. Being Mexican, as you can imagine, I am particularly close and knowledgeable and very much convinced of the notion, because the NAFTA has now been helping both the US and Mexico, and of course our friends to the north in Canada, to do better. Fourth, firms that trade provide more jobs, but more importantly perhaps better jobs, higher salaries, better working conditions. Now, if it's so good, why is it in such trouble? Why is it kind of stuck? Trade as a driver of growth is slowing. In 2015, exports and imports in G20 countries fell by 11% and 13% in in value terms, respectively. So we are like the crabs, kind of going backwards. And things are not looking much better this year. For the first quarter of 2016, both exports and imports fell by around 4%. That is in value terms. So it's looking like it's going to be a repeat performance if we continue at this rate for the rest of the year. And perhaps more seriously and more threateningly, having fallen by 4% in a quarter, it constitutes the 7th consecutive quarter in which both imports and exports have declined. Adjusted for prices, world trade growth is not keeping up with GDP. We are experiencing the longest period of stagnation in the ratio of the world trade to GDP in 70 years. So dear friends, the friends of trade, it's a call to arms that I am making here. Because the object of our love and affection is in dire straits. This extremely powerful engine of growth and well-being is sputtering, is having a very, very mediocre and, well, pretty weak performance. Now, some of this slowdown is cyclical, caused by lackluster growth and steep falls in commodity prices. When there's a cycle, and then it tends to have a double whammy, because you have a drop in demand. It's like when China stops buying, or there's a slowdown in the United States, in Europe, etc. So there's less demand, and then the demand slowdown is followed, of course, by price drops. And then if that holds, because there's less elasticity to price of things like commodities, then you do not get the normal recovery in demand that you would get because the prices are lower. So you get this, both the demand and the price elements. But structural factors are also at work, including maturing global value chains, weak global investment, a key engine of trade, by the way. Investment is, in a way, we could be talking about investment also. The numbers are very weak, about half of their cruising speed. But the other question is that investment drives trade, and trade drives investment. And if both are weak, there's, rather than being mutually reinforcing, they're mutually kind of weakening, because then they're not helping each other as they usually do.